Hi guys, it's Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zickery of Space Command. And those of you who are regular subscribers to Mr. Sci-Fi, which you all should be, click on the button below, subscribe to Mr. Sci-Fi. Know that I just posted a video of a wonderful panel I did about writing for animation in the 70s, 80s, etc., with a number of my compatriots, Scott Shaw, Buzz Dixon, various others. It was a great panel, and you can watch all of it here on Mr. Sci-Fi. Many of you do not know that I wrote for Smurfs, He-Man, Super Friends, Real Ghostbusters, tons of different shows when I was in my 20s, before moving on to the live-action shows like Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5, Sliders, and Space Command. So, but definitely check that out. And also, we're now designing and we're going to be building a Space Command car. And so these are some of the designs that we just got. I just met with Eric Rodriguez, and you can see they're pretty cool. So we'll be talking about that more very soon, and it's going to be really cool. So, but we're ramping up to shoot. We're renting our studio space again, and lots is coming down the pike. So I'm going to be posting a few videos over the next few days based on things I've been watching and reading. Right now, I guess we can talk about Dr. Sleep, which I just saw, which, as many of you know, is the sequel both in terms of books and movies to Stephen King's novel, The Shining. And so, where to start? Okay, well, it's interesting because I have read a number of Stephen King's books, but I've not read The Shining or Dr. Sleep. Elaine read The Shining, and when she saw the Kubrick film, she felt it was inferior to the book, which I've heard many times, that the book is a lot scarier, a lot more interesting and detailed than the movie. That said, Stanley Kubrick is one of the greatest directors of all time, and every time he's jumped into another genre, such as science fiction with 2001, or Nuclear Armageddon's satire with Doctor Strangelove, or speculation as to future violence with Clockwork Orange, he basically did things that no one else was doing. And so with The Shining, yes, it has its failings, but in many ways it's unique, because Kubrick was trying to basically reinvent the horror genre, and he succeeded in creating images that were uniquely his, and such as the twins in the corridor and the elevator doors that open and there's a flood of blood, and so forth. And so it's a very memorable film, even if it isn't wholly successful by my lights. But I think it's a terrific film, a really interesting film. I very much like the cast. I met Scatman Crothers around that time, and he was a very charming man, very interesting man, really, again, memorable. And although he's gone, the actor who takes his place in the movie in Dr. Sleep is extremely good, and good at imitating him. So so let's talk about Dr. Sleep. I recommend you see it. I think it's a very good film. It's the good part. The best thing about it is it's not just a regurgitation of The Shining. It's not just repeating The Shining. It's about the little boy grown up, Danny, who has his own troubles and his own, literally, ghosts. He's haunted by what happened to him in the hotel and his father trying to kill him and all that stuff, and by having these psychic gifts. So, but I liked the film very much because, first of all, it wasn't trying to compete with Kubrick. It couldn't, and it knew it couldn't. It couldn't be as phenomenally brilliant as Kubrick is. And if you haven't watched Kubrick's movies, go out immediately, watch 2001, watch Doctor Strangelove, etc. But Doctor Sleep, it has Ewan McGregor, who many of you know as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's very good. He gives a very layered performance, a very good performance. It has a young girl who plays Abra, the young girl who has powers similar to Danny's, who also has The Shining. And then it has a villain called Rosie the Hat. Again, very well acted, very interesting. It's kind of another take on vampires that aren't specifically vampires, but have the same basic MO. And I liked it. I just thought it was an entertaining film. For me, the weakest things were when they have to kind of shoehorn the Overlook Hotel into it. And, and we see sort of the familiar cast of characters. They have actors reprising those roles, the Shelley Duvall role, the Jack Nicholson role. They're okay, but I think that's the part of it that I really didn't need. If it had been just about Danny and about this experience and this adventure, that would have been fine. I don't need to go back to the same locale as the original film, but that's what they did. And but again, it's a good film. It's an entertaining film. It's a well-made film, and I think if you're a horror aficionado or a Kubrick aficionado, there's a lot to enjoy there. And additionally, it kind of brings full circle Danny's journey, and I think that's good because after that horrifying experience in the Overlook, you wonder, well, what kind of life is this kid going to have? And this answers that question very effectively. Additionally, Stephen King has written in his book on writing, which I also recommend. It's excellent. He writes about his addictions to alcohol and to cocaine, and when he wrote The Shining, he was effectively an alcoholic, but not aware of it. And some part of his subconscious was writing about the main character as an alcoholic before he himself, as a person, had faced that. There was an intervention by his family that forced him to, literally clean up his act. And so in Doctor Sleep, where you have the character in 12 Steps and so forth, I'm sure that's written from personal experience on Stephen King's part. So it's you'll enjoy it. There's a lot of good movies coming out now. There's a lot of good TV shows coming out, and so I recommend you see that. In the days to come, I'll be talking about Watchmen. I'll be talking about the Golden Compass / Dark Materials, and also I've been asked to talk about. Many of you know I just wrote a pilot for the CW called The Theurgist, which is now being read by the president of the network, which is cool. We'll see if I get a series out of it or what happens, but I'm very pleased with the script. And also I'm of course creating Sweet Haven with Rockneil Bannon, who created Farscape and many other shows and is now on Evil on CBS as the executive producer. And we're finishing the outline. We're about to go to script, and then we'll shoot it. And so lots to talk about. But someone wanted to know about my writing process and how I collaborate with someone like Rock, how I come up with ideas and basically build the pieces of a script, characters, settings, incident, etc. So I'll talk about that. I'll try not to have too many spoilers, but that should be a very interesting video. So that's about it. We're going to be advertising soon on Facebook and YouTube to kind of build our audience. I want very much to spread the word about Mr. Sci-Fi. If you can get friends of yours to check it out, that'd be much appreciated because it's very clear. We're doing well. We're getting, we have thousands of subscribers and millions of hits, but we all know that there are millions of science fiction fans out there who would love these videos. And so we're also going to be sending out the full hour of the Space Command pilot, so it's 11 more minutes. We'll be sending that out very soon. I'm very pleased with it. And we're going to be shooting a lot more and recording the audio play, the prequel, and there's a lot of fun stuff ahead. So we have a GoFundMe campaign. You can throw some dollars our way. You can, if you want to donate every month to help keep Mr. Sci-Fi going. There's Patreon, and we also, of course, are still selling Space Command shares at $7,500 each. All of it helps enormously. We want to shoot the entire 12-hour season of Space Command. We're pitching the show, but I don't want to wait. I really don't have any interest in waiting for some network executive to get it. They are not my audience. They're not my my friends or judges or anything. I mean, and again, not to diss them. Some network executives actually are my friends, but I just don't need to be jumping through corporate hoops, and so that's all there is to that. So if you want to see more Space Command, if you want to come on the set, if you want to come to the premiere, if you want to come to the Space Command convention we're going to be having at the top of the year, $100 helps, $20 helps, 500 helps, 1,000, 7,500 or more. It all helps. I mean, because literally, we have enormous enthusiasm for what we're doing, and we know that you do too. So that's about it, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot for being there, and it's really good to have science fiction as our big tent that everyone's welcome under. Take care, guys. Talk soon. Bye.